Why is the microphone all the way up here? Sarah's advertisement worked. She has attracted an attorney to represent her to be her 9th attorney. Now, this attorney does an interview where he gives us a good, I don't know. I feel like he gives us some details about what happened behind the scenes between him and Sarah Boone, how he got onto the case, and some issues that they had. But eventually, in the end, he agreed to represent her. Let's watch that interview. But first, I want to read the statement that he gave to Court TV. This ad that Sarah Boone wrote, that was a July ad. I wonder when the attorney decided to look into this case. Did he wait about a month afterwards to represent her? Did he do like some research? It was like, hey, I'll do it. I'll take it. Or did he not find out about it until like a couple weeks ago or something? Owen spoke to Court TV. On Friday, attorney James Owens filed a motion of appearance, then immediately filed a motion asking for Boone's trial to be delayed and said that as of August 30th, he'll be representing the defendant. In the motion, he noted he was drawn to the case after seeing her advertisement. Okay, that advertisement worked. You know, we're making fun of it. It looked like a circus clown advertisement, but hey, it worked. In the motion, Owens says that he has met with Boone 4 times at the jail. During the meetings, they discussed exculpatory evidence in her case. Owen spoke with Court TV after filing his notice of appearance and said that he was inspired to reach out to help her after seeing coverage of her case. He said that after his first meeting with her in jail, he was reluctant to meet to represent her, but they worked out their differences and he is fully... Wait, what? Hold on a second. What differences did they have up front during the first meeting? Wait, what? Is he allowed to say this? Why is he giving us so much tea? He was inspired to reach out to help her after seeing the coverage of the case. He said that after his first meeting with her in jail, he was reluctant to represent her, but they worked out their differences and he is fully committed to the case. Okay, I mean, good for them. He says in quotations, I think Sarah feels good about it now because I think she realized representing herself is harder than it looks. Yep. So I think she's appreciative of having a lawyer again. She hired me. She retained me. I plan on seeing it through. I'm determined to help her see it through. All right. All right, good.
Why this case?
Sarah Boone needed a lawyer. I mean, I can't imagine our system. The case is an aberration, okay? This just a gap in the system that hardly ever happens. You know, on the federal level, on the state level, everybody charged with a crime is entitled to counsel, okay? Everybody. Never, unless the client, unless the defendant waives their right and wants to represent themselves, which is rare and foolish. But I understand the judge's ruling. We respect the judge's ruling. But that left Sarah in a position where she's standing in a courtroom accused of murder without a lawyer. I can't think of any other time that you would need one than in that scenario. So once that decision was made by the courts,
no captions, y'all. The captions button is blurred. It's blurred out.
Sarah put an ad out. Somehow it got on Court TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, true crime. I saw it. I didn't immediately act on it. I waited 3 or 4 weeks thinking that one of the members of the defense bar here in Orlando would pick up the torch. 3 or 4 weeks went by. It did not happen.
Wait, who? He was hoping someone would pick up the torch? Who? Someone specifically?
Decision was made by the courts. Sarah put an ad out. Somehow it got on Court TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, true crime. I saw it. I didn't immediately act on it. I waited 3 or 4 weeks thinking that one of the members of the defense bar here in Orlando would pick up the torch. 3 or 4 weeks went by. It did not happen. I had another case down here in Hillsborough County in Tampa that I had to come down for. So I wrote her a letter about a week before that. And she had a third party, a girl from Minnesota, that reached out to me, I think first just to see if I was legitimate. They said to see if I think catfishing is what they thought I was doing. Somehow.
Catfishing? Hold on a second. Catfishing? What kind of catfishing would this be?
Some fraud. I think once the third party realized that I was genuine, then Sarah called me. And we talked on the phone a couple of times, and I said, hey, I'm coming down that Wednesday for that court case in Tampa. Why don't I just come down Monday, which I did. I got done with court, I think, Monday at noon. I drove down 6 hours, spent the night, got up the next morning. I think that was on the 20th, and I spent about 4 hours with Sarah Boone at the Orange County Jail. During that period of time, I was in talks with the prosecutor. let him know what I was doing. He wanted me to file a notice of appearance. I wasn't ready to make that commitment yet.
Alyssa, thank you so much. Tier 1. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining the membership. I appreciate your support. Love your name, and thank you so much. I don't think when he said that he was hoping for a Orlando defense attorney to pick up the torch, I don't think I re-listened to it. I don't think he like specifically meant anyone. I think he just meant anyone, any defense attorney in Orlando. He was hoping they would pick up the torch. If I remember correctly, I don't think Mentor Lawyer is a practicing attorney anymore, right? Didn't he retire from that or something, or he's doing something else?
Didn't do that, but I got Sarah to sign a document essentially saying, you know, you can speak to the prosecutor on my behalf. There was attempts to try to resolve it. If we would have come to terms, I would have filed the notice of appearance. We would have set it for court, set it for hearing, and the case would have been resolved. So we did make attempts like everybody does in every...
Oh, I wonder what they were asking for. So I remember, I think plea deal was thrown around in one of the hearings, wasn't it? Like whether or not there would be a plea deal, if they were going to be in the talks of it. And then we're like, wait a second, is Sarah Boone working with the state on a plea deal? So obviously the state, it seems like maybe they rejected, or maybe the state offered Sarah a plea deal and she rejected, and maybe she tried to counter offer and they're like, nah, we're not doing that.
Every case, any prosecutor, any criminal defense lawyer, public defender, you have plea negotiations. That's just part of it. So there were attempts to settle it. I was kind of like a mediator. You know, I was kind of like a go-between, because once she became pro se, it's very difficult for the prosecutor to then communicate with the defendant. Actually, the rules say you got to do it on the record. And you can imagine not having somebody to negotiate for you, and she's trying to negotiate with the prosecutor, trying to send her to prison for the rest of her life. So somebody had to do it. I was doing it. But after those, so I met with her that day. I went over to Tampa, handled my case. I think I was done at 2:30. I came back. Well, Billy Lane, the investigator that's assisting Sarah Boone, pro se, he had scheduled an appointment to meet with Sarah that night. So I went back over to the jail. They let me meet with them. So,
dude, he's giving us like the play-by-play. We're getting the whole tea.
3 of us met.
Okay.
This was, I think, the 21st, like it's set from 7 to 8:30. We met for about an hour and a half. And, you know, at that point, we couldn't reach an agreement. And then I wasn't ready to represent her at that point. I immediately told the prosecutor that there was an impasse, there was no agreement, that I was not going to be representing her. I got in the car and drove back home. Got home about 4. I had court the next morning at 8:30. I was done with the case. I did the best I could.
Oh, okay. Is this what he meant by with the court TV statement with how they set their conflicts aside?
I want to say 2 nights later, my wife and I were home, and Sarah called, and we talked again. Of course, I was still thinking about it, what to do, and but I told Sarah I was not committed to doing it. That was on like the 23rd. Well, then that third party called a day or 2 later, and really nice lady that I really respect. We've developed a relationship, and she asked me if I would go one more time. So I flew back down. We met again a couple of times. I can't remember the dates now, 25th and the 26th. But both meetings went well. And you got to understand, Sarah's been through 8 lawyers, so there's some trust issues. And on both sides, you know, I'm concerned, is she going to try to fire me, or we're going to have problems the same way, as you can imagine. But, you know, I like her. She likes me.
Also, why is there a stop sign in here? Hello? I've never seen a real last stop sign being used inside of a building. This is usually only for roads, for like vehicular instruction. Like what is this? What is this stop sign doing in here?
Communicate well. I think we're both on the same page. And, you know, I spoke to my family, my wife, my daughter Sarah about it. Sarah's thinking about law school, so.
Oh, he's got a daughter, Sarah.
Their blessing. I have, you know, some colleagues that I practice law with, a law group there in Milton. And obviously it's going to take some staff to pull something like this off, especially knowing that the judge, I was in hopes he was going to continue it and give me 2 or 3 months. He did not. So we've got about 30 days, so I'm going to have some help from the staff, but I'm trying to assemble a team right now. I've got a couple of friends that are lawyers that have indicated they're going to help me. And
Okay.
what are friends for?
Are you doing it pro bono?
Because I was saying this, I was like, he must have been prepared for the judge to say no, you know, like just in case the judge say no, you know, he must be prepared to like, okay, I'm willing to represent this case, knowing that it could potentially happen October 7th if the judge says no, and he can properly prepare for it. Because he did tell the judge, he was like, hey, you know, if it does happen October 7th, I mean, I could work that out or something. Oh gosh, I don't have the exact quote. I don't think I wrote it down, but he did indicate that if it were to happen October 7th, that like, yeah, I guess he could be able to prepare for it.
I've been retained. I'm not doing it pro bono.
Who's paying for it?
Sarah owes me. Sarah owes me.
Sarah owes me. So I wonder if maybe it's one of those things like, hey, Sarah, I'm going to get you off on this. Okay, Sarah, when you get off and when you're free out in the world, I want you to work as my paralegal. What is it that remember Casey Anthony had someone that was like on her side? Was it an expert or someone? Or was it a PI? And then when Casey Anthony got off, he ended up hiring her to work with him. No, I'm not going through the sexual favors route, no.
Can you speak a little more to your plan for defense about the battered spouse syndrome?
Well, you know, I'm not an expert, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that because we're time crunched now. As you know, I think you all understand the rule now. We've only got till the 9th, which was today, the 3rd. We've got 6 days. So I'm going to try to pay for Dr. Julie Harper to fly down here later this week. She's actually from my area. The 2 experts that I had asked for, well, there's a 3rd one, but 2 of them are from my area. Dr. Harper's from Okaloosa County and Dr. Birkeland's from Escambia County, but I've been in communication with Dr. Harper. I think I'm going to get her to fly down here later this week to meet with Sarah several times. Hopefully, at the end of those meetings, like I said, she's already met with her, but it was 2 years ago. She met with her 5 or 6 times. Hopefully, she's going to agree with me that she does suffer from battered spouse syndrome. And so then if she's able to give me that opinion by the end of this week, my intent is to file the notice with the court and the clerk of our intent to rely on that defense. And then we go from there. That's really all I can say. It's up to Dr. Harper, not me.
So you've got 6 days to do that. Now, barring a Matlock miracle and that doesn't occur, what is your other, I guess, plan of action?
So someone asked, you know, you got 6 days to do that. What's your other plan of action?
Well, you know, Sarah's been sitting in jail for a while. She's looking for her day in court, and we all want justice to be served. You know, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I've been doing it a long time. The state has the burden of proof. They have to prove their case. I know there's some strong evidence in the case, but there are some explanations.
Okay.
I'd rather not get into my other potential defenses, but we do have some defenses. They've got to convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. That's all I really want to say. You know, just like any other lawyer facing a trial on a criminal case, the state has the burden. We're going to test the state's evidence, and then we've got potentially a case to put on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens at the end of this week. It'll be interesting to see if we can utilize, because I do believe she meets the criteria just from everything that I have viewed in terms of Mr. Torres' prior arrest. I did want to say something else, but I want to say something, but I'll wait for you. If you
We
got
got to
one.
move downstairs.
Okay.
Or, I mean, we can just wrap it up.
We could just wrap it up.
I did want to say this. The Torres brothers are violent towards women. I'll say that again. The Torres brothers, George and Pharaoh Torres, are violent towards their women.
Wait a second. Aren't there like 4 brothers?
Pharaoh Torres is George's brother.
Okay.
Are y'all aware of this? He was
Yes.
arrested in May in Seminole County for killing his girlfriend, the mother of his children. He stabbed her to death. I've got the file right here. He called 911. Eventually, the 911 operator got around to, where is the weapon? Where is the knife?
I think Pharaoh was the one that got in a fight with George, right? Because remember the interview that we listened to George's other brother, where investigators were like, oh, were you the one that got in a fight with George? And he was like, no, that wasn't me. And he was like, oh, wait, no, that was Pharaoh. Pharaoh was the one that, I guess him and George got in a fight or something.
It was still in her head. I don't know.
You know, I don't know if he's going to be able to bring this up in front of the jury, though, because I don't know if it pertains to this case. Unless they're going to have Pharaoh go up there and testify and be like, oh, by the way, here's her history.
Sarah's told me about the family, the dysfunction. I seriously doubt that's going to be admissible in my trial.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, is it going to be admissible? But
There's two sides to every story. And Sarah's got a story to tell. I think she's been mistreated to some degree. It's difficult to represent yourself. I wish you could just imagine if you had a daughter that was in her situation where she's representing herself, or maybe a sister. Just for 10 minutes, just think about her situation. You know, she's backed into a corner, and she's the type, like most of us are, they're going to come out swinging. That's what she's been doing. Some of it is probably appropriate, some of it has been inappropriate, but it's all she knew to do was to fight. And she's been fighting. She doesn't have to fight anymore. I'm going to do the fighting for her. So she feels good about it.
I mean, that's the thing, though. It's not like Sarah Boone stabbed George, shot George. It was a suitcase. She left him in the suitcase, and she was like, the demeanor towards him while she was recording the video. Because it'd be a different story if it was like, okay, like, you know, she was defending for her life. They were fighting. She thought she was going to die. She grabbed a knife. She stabbed him. She ran away. Or she shot him. But like, this is like suitcase. Like, one, he got in there somehow. Whether or not he got it himself, or I don't know if he passed out drugs, she put him in there. I don't fucking know what happened, okay? I don't know the story to that. But she left him in there. He was begging to get out. Like, it's a suitcase. It's like you had time to sit there, record him, and laugh at him and make fun of him. I just don't know. I feel like the jury's going to have a hard time overlooking that. Like, oh, okay, like, yeah, she was in an abusive relationship. She was being abused by him. But yet, how did he get in the suitcase? I don't know. Maybe she'll go up there and give us a different explanation than she did in the body cam footage of the police body cam footage and the interrogation. Maybe she'll give us a different story.
Feel good about it. We want justice to be served. We feel like if we get a fair jury, that we got a good chance. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. I mean, sounds confident. We'll see. I can't wait for him to present, if they can't go with the battered spouse defense, he says that he has some other explanations, but he's not going to reveal it to us now. But I can't wait for him to do his opening arguments. You know, I can't wait for him to get his witnesses up there and see what other angles they're going to try to go with, and what are they going to try to expose, I guess.